What is a great TV show that never became popular? Dead Like Me. Very underrated show. If you've never heard about it, this is all you really need to know to start off. The main character, a young female slacker, gets killed in the first 10 minutes by a toilet seat falling from an abandoned space station that burns up in the atmosphere. She then gets recruited as a Reaper. Her job is to basically separate people's souls from their bodies shortly prior to their death so that they can transition to the afterlife without the trauma of their deaths weighing on their souls. It's a dark comedy that is profoundly deep at times. It also stars Mandy Patinkin in a supporting role. It was a great show. Pushing Daisies. Got cancelled during the 2007 writers' strike. It's kinda old at this point but remains one of my favorite all-time shows in all its unfinished glory. Party Down. Such a stellar cast, great premise, but got kneecapped when their eventual stars all got bigger gigs. Jane Lynch went on to do Glee, Adam Scott landed his gig on Parks and Rec, and the show ended after 2 seasons. Still one of my favorite comedy shows. Are we having fun yet? Almost Human. A future cop, Carl Urban, doesn't like that all detectives get assigned a robot partner. He gets stuck with a previous generation model, Michael Ealy, and together they solve crimes and eventually start to become friends. It was actually a really good show. They just should have waited 4 to 5 years to make it because sci-fi shows weren't as mainstream and popular in 2013 as they are now. I really enjoyed Warehouse 13, but I have not met anyone else who has heard of it. Better Off Ted. Happy Endings. A great little comedy that deserved better. First, I have to point out that I am not making this up. Salvage 1, Andy Griffith plays the owner of a salvage yard who, in the first episode, has managed to purchase surplus rocket engines from NASA, which he uses to build his own rocket ship. Why? Because there's valuable salvage in space. He launches the rocket from his salvage yard successfully, collects a dead satellite, returns it to Earth and melts it down just as the government agents arrive too late to catch him in the act. After that it's like, the Incredible Hulk. Salvage guy flies, while government agents try to catch him. Trust me. As a kid, this was the bomb. Gallivant. It's a great TV that's like Monty Python meets Broadway, and it's so funny but it never got love and barely got a second season. HBO's Carinevale, a wonderful and strange Depression-era story about the forces of good and evil as a bunch of carnies make their way through the Dust Bowl. It was tragically cancelled after 2 seasons, but is an absolute must-watch. Awake. It was a show starring Jason Isaacs where he simultaneously lived in 2 separate timelines. He was in a car accident with his wife and son. So in one timeline, his son dies and he still has his wife. But in the other timeline, it's his wife who dies, while his son is still alive. And roughly he swaps between the 2 timelines when he goes to sleep. He also plays a detective, and that comes into play as the worlds sort of run in parallel, and he uses information from one world to solve crimes in the other. That was kind of an ancillary part of the show, and was just there to give this guy a mission. The show only lasted 13 episodes, but had some serious potential. I wish more people watched The IT Crowd in the US. I hate laugh tracks and I still loved it. Fringe. Travelers S1 and S3 are stellar, raving reviews too. The shtick where a newly arrived traveler sees undestroyed Earth for the first time and just can't believe it, it's a feeling that nothing else can quite compare to, and I'm getting queasy again just writing about it. Also great characters, just the right mix of clever but not too serious heavy, and the whole premise is of course extremely fucking relevant. Sealab 2021, an oft-forgotten gem of early Adult Swim. Also, The Brack Show. Generation Kill, great show on HBO. Don't know too many people who've seen it but they all say it's great, including me. Clone High. Lasting 13 episodes, it had a hilarious but brief run on MTV in the early 2000s. Crossing my fingers that the rumors of a possible reboot come true. Counterpart. Amazing sci-fi espionage series that lasted 2 seasons at Showtime a few years ago. J.K. Simmons plays a meek, gentle paper pusher at a mysterious company in Berlin who finds out that his organization is actually in charge of communicating with a twin organization in an alternate universe. He then meets his own twin who is an amoral, cynic, calculating assassin. Amazing stuff. Jericho, cool premise, space above and beyond, gritty sci-fi is always great. Don't Trust the Bee. I loved that show. The cast were great and it was actually funny. I still rewatch now and again, don't know why it was never popular. It's also a show I think could be genuinely rebooted without it being forced.